Hi, I'm Jaacob Bowden, professional golfer and explorer. I'm here at one of my favorite places to come in Detroit, Sunset Point on Belle Isle. Belle Isle is an island in the Detroit River and that I'm sitting on right now here, and this green part is the southernmost point of the island, and it's called Sunset Point because the sunset, depending on the time of year, sets all along the horizon here. And this is a really beautiful spot to come, not just because you're getting a lot of nature and water and air here. It's just a really beautiful area, but it's cool too because the Detroit River here splits Canada over here, and then this is the city of the skyline, the city of Detroit over here. So it's just one of my favorite places to come to get a little bit of nature and kind of wind down. And I really love sunsets. This is my sunset t-shirt. I didn't even do this on purpose. I just had the instinct to wear my sunset t-shirt today. And here we are at Sunset Point filming this video. So I guess it's worked out. Anyway, this video, I'm going through a major rebrand. So this video is intended to just kind of give an introduction to what that is, why I'm doing it, a little bit of the backstory, what's going on, all those kinds of things. And then to let you know what's coming down the pipeline as part of the rebrand, what that means for you all watching this video. And then if it sounds pretty cool, different ways that you can support me, this channel, all the things surrounding all this. So I'm starting here with this great view here. I'm going to flip the camera around because so that I can look at this view. Yeah, when I flip it around, you're not going to get as nice a view, but I'm going to. But I think it'll help me to just speak and talk just facing the other way. And then I'm going to put the camera on cinematic mode here, so in case there's somebody that walks into frame, you can still see me, but it kind of blurs out the background. So let me flip that around and we'll get into the video here. All right, so camera flipped around. I'm doing this on a smartphone. I got an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I'm just doing the selfie camera so I can see the screen here, and it's actually not as bad as I thought. A little bit of nature, some water over here. I came over here so that you can look at something nicer. But regardless, you get to look at me. So anyway, so the rebrand, professional golfer and explorer. What does that mean? Professional golfer, I think that's, there's a traditional self-explanatoriness to that. I think when I say professional golfer, you think of like professional athlete, someone getting paid to play a sport, in this case golf, so getting paid to play golf. And traditionally, the thinking of that is maybe a PGA Tour player or a live golf player or like a DP World Tour, one of the major tours. And if you're not into golf, the place where like Tiger Woods has played most of his career at. So, sorry, there's just a big goose right next to me, flapping its wings and looking right at me. So it took me by surprise there. It just kind of popped up right out of the water. So professional golfer, traditionally you think of like a major tour player, and I guess that's the traditional way of thinking about it. I'd like to reimagine a bit through this rebrand what professional golfer is. For me personally, here's the goose, or Canadian goose. Startle me again. So professional golfer. Sorry, we're getting off track here. I'd like to reimagine that a little bit, what that is. I'm almost 50 now, which is hard to believe. I turned pro when I was 27. I was just an average golfer, hit average distances. And I started out the journey just wondering, I left my corporate job and was wondering hey, I didn't come from a wealthy family, so I didn't have resources. I'd saved up 20 grand. From working my corporate job for 5 years, and then I'd already put away $20,000 towards retirement. I was aware of compound interest, so I wanted to start that early. But then I decided to like take all that out and risk it all on myself and see if I could become a professional golfer, see if I could make the PGA Tour. And everything that I've done since January 2003, January 1st, 2003, when I started that journey. I quit my job, I think, in November 2002 and moved out to California. Everything I've done since then has kind of been in service of that, trying to find a way to fund that journey. Golf is a relatively expensive sport. Trying to do it professionally is even more expensive. There's equipment, there's training, there's coaches. You just need money to live on too. So unless I was born in a trailer in rural Missouri, so I didn't come from family money. The nickname of the PGA Tour is the Trust Fund Tour, because oftentimes that's what it takes. You need that kind of support to get out there. You hear about star junior players that come out of college or their amateur careers and get big contracts with like one of the major golf companies. So that's maybe what you might popularly think of as what happens, but that's kind of like the rare exception to be sponsored like that. So for most people, you need some kind of funding to like do that. So I thought I wanted to give it a go. I just tried to risk it all on myself. I went through my savings in that first year, and then I cashed my first check in July 2003. So just 6 months in. So just making such quick progress on my own like that, I thought, gosh, maybe I really can do this. So the second year, I didn't know any people with money. I didn't know there's no bank loans available. I wasn't a high level amateur, so I couldn't get the big corporate sponsors. And then reality TV at that point, if you wanted to follow someone on a journey like that and make a film around it, which I tried to do with a buddy of mine actually. Sadly, all the footage that we recorded got lost over the years. But anyway, second year I got put into 40 grand in debt on credit cards, just trying to get myself a little bit further. And then I spent a lot of years just trying to fish my way out of that. It probably took me, that was in 2003, went through savings, 2004 took on debt. I don't think I might have paid that off completely till 2016. So all the things that I tried to do and that I got into were in service of just trying to find a way to fund the career. Whether that be getting into long drive, getting into speed golf, starting Swingman Golf, my website, starting Sterling irons, single length irons, and all those had varying degrees of level of success, but nothing. And I was facing a lot of challenges along the way. In the beginning, I didn't know people. There was a point in 2004 where I met someone who was willing to fund me, which was amazing, and I could give a proper shot at it. He sent me off to Q School for the old, now I guess defunct, or maybe it got bought out, the NGA Hooters Tour. I qualified for 7 events, and then as I was about set to get going on those, his wife filed for divorce, and he was set to lose half his assets, and then he pulled the plug. So then I was back to square one. So I've had, and then in 2007, 8, I forget what year it was, there was the financial crisis of trying to find, purse strings were tight at that point, so it was hard to find money. I was coming up with good proposals. I actually got a job offer as the one to secure sponsorships for the U.S. national ski team. So my sponsorship proposals were good, enough to get an offer to fundraise like that for the Olympic team, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it for myself. So all these little projects and diversions that, if you've been following me over the years, it was all just trying to find a way in to get a shot to get out of the PGA Tour. And then along the way, I had to get really innovative and creative. It's like that saying, when you don't have resources, it's time to get resourceful. So I was really willing to take risk, think outside the box, try different things that were not popular or were not trendy or whatever, just to try and advance myself a little bit further. And sorry, I was looking at checking the timer here. We're about 8 minutes. So I want to make these about 20 or 30 minutes, kind of like a TV show episode. I was just checking the time there and lost my train of thought. So anyway, along the way, I really dove into the mental game. And I started that right from the get-go, actually. In late 2003, I was going to this thing called Psi 7. They had a bunch of inner training, inner leadership kinds of things. So I was going to those to try and just find ways to, got into NLP. I got into, what's it called? It's a form of kinesiology. Gosh, I can't think of the name of it. And it's like where you make certain motions, like if you go like this or put your hand on your stomach. There's different body motions that kind of change your internal vibe or chemistry, I guess. Educational kinesiology, that's what it is. So, and I just really started going down into all kinds of exploring, which is kind of like a reveal of where this explorer thing is coming from. I found out that I was needing to explore all the different rabbit holes, look at all different kinds of sports, all different kinds of things to try and figure out a way to navigate this system that wasn't designed for me to, someone without economic means to break through, despite all my other advantages. I'm 6'2", decent looking person, for marketing purposes. I'm strong and athletic. I've been given a lot of advantages to work within where society is now. And yet, even with all those, kind of proving myself over and over in different ways, for some reason, I just couldn't figure out a way, or I was never successful in getting what I needed to get that shot. But now that I've been into this it's now 2025, so 2002, 3, so 22 years of this, just trying to find a way and stick with it. So it's been a story of resilience, for sure. Being tough. I thought about quitting a lot of times, but anytime I thought about quitting and getting into other things, I would just kind of sink into a depression. It wasn't, for me personally, it's super important to be involved in something that I enjoy and it be in a passion space. I struggle with, maybe mental illness if I'm not doing something that I enjoy. So even if that makes it more challenging, say in my particular case, financially, I would rather take that path than the alternative. I think if I would have stayed doing what I was doing and just doing things that I wasn't enjoying, then I don't know where I'd be right now, health-wise particularly. So looking back at my career, it's been about professional golf. It's been about, I've explored a lot of things. That's just kind of it's turned out what I've done and what I do. I've played around with different other kinds of things. I've done a lot of coaching. I've done a lot of training, coaching training others, all different skill levels. Typically average golfers to better skilled golfers, to professional golfers and professional long drivers. So I've really seen and coached a whole lot of the gamut of that. And I've been really good at that and gotten awards even for a lot of those things and done a lot of innovative things in the industry. But again, I think when I think about, this is part of this rebrand, when I think about who am I, what do I enjoy, I'm almost 50 now. I'll be 50 in January. It's May now, so 6 months. I'm getting to a point in life where I'm very aware of my mortality, and I want to try and as best as I can spend the rest of my, and there's a lot of people around me. I'm still vertical, and I'm grateful for that. There's a lot of people at my age that are in the ground and not here anymore. I really appreciate being alive, and despite the difficulties and challenges sometimes of the human experience. But I'm glad I'm here, and for as long as I'm here, I want to just try and keep, I don't want to say fighting, but just try and keep engaging, try and stay curious, try and just do as much as I can of what I love and what I enjoy, and live a rich life that way, regardless of how it works out from, say, a financial circumstance standpoint. So I think that's kind of just who I am, professional golfer, and explorer. So that's part of the name. But as I was saying, like, I wanted to reimagine this professional golf thing, what it means to be a professional golfer. Most of the professional golfers that you think of are on tours, and most of the tour money is extremely top-loaded at the top. It's, oh, I got a little groundhog buddy. How about that? So the money is like super, super top-loaded. The best world ranking I ever had is 1367, which is really amazing considering where I started, how late I started, and that there's 60 million golfers in the world. So I'm in like the super top echelon of like people that are playing golf and have played golf. But at my level, it's still like just kind of getting by month to month, and it's been now for me decades of that. And it's like that in the thousands of the rankings, and then even into the hundreds. And then it's not till you get up into the maybe inside the top 500 where you can start, it starts becoming like you make enough money where it might be like a normal job. And then once you get, say, I don't know, the top 120 players on the PGA Tour, they all had over, I don't know, I forget what it was, 800,000 in prize money. Not to mention probably double that, so say 1.5 million in like endorsement kind of money. So it's, and then once you get up to the top, the super top, like the Scotty Scheffler for right now, for example, I don't even know what he made last year, but just in a single year he might have made 30 million, so which is insane. Generational wealth, the kind of wealth that you could have, I don't know, I looked this up the other day, generational wealth in the United States, I guess, is considered 5 to 10 million. If you have that much, you can put it in super low risk kind of thing and like never have to work again. So it's really, a person in my position, it's really hard to swallow when just a few people are getting generational wealth over and over and over, all in one lump sum, year after year after year. And then just you go down just a little bit, and then it's like struggling to make ends meet. So it drops off super, super quickly. And then, so that's one of the, I guess, one of the challenges. There's this, last year I was working on a memoir. I got a 275-page memoir biography kind of book that I wrote that the brain dump is done, but it needs to be edited and molded into something. And there's this story I shared about LeBron James, for example, not to pick on LeBron James, but his contract, his salary right now with the Lakers is something like 48, 50 some million. So basically $1 million a week. And I believe he's a billionaire right now. And so I did some calculation where I looked up the number of workers in the Lakers organization. It's like something like 500 or something. And if you took his salary from, say, 52 million, so $1 million a week for playing basketball, down to 10 million, which is still, for a single season, generational wealth, on top of the money that he already has, on top of the endorsements that he's getting, that 40 million and pardon me if the math is not if I'm not like getting quite the numbers right off the top of my head, but basically the gist of it is you could give every single person in the Lakers organization a $75,000 a year raise. So just imagine what that would do for the concessions workers and like all the people that are behind the scenes that are creating that environment for like a LeBron James to like do what he does. So it's not just a problem in golf. It's like it's a systemic problem in the U.S. CEO pay is like absolutely ridiculous right now for large corporations. For most large corporations, even executive directors for say nonprofit, like the PGA Tour, for example, is a nonprofit. And I don't know, Jay Monahan, the executive director, I think he took home something like $8 million or something last year. So a nonprofit paid a single person generational wealth for a single year. So I don't know if that's, maybe it's legal, but is that ethical? I don't know. Is it for golf being a sport of integrity? Does that really have integrity? I don't know. I told a friend of mine who's a executive director of something that you would think of as an actual nonprofit, like how much he made, and her jaw dropped. She could not believe it. So there's just like there's this problem of that in the golf industry and in the sports entertainment industry in the U.S. At large. So given that everything is so top-loaded and the system is so difficult to break through for everyone else, say, doing the work to make that possible for a handful of people to just get an insane amount of money. I don't know if I gave up on the idea of like just breaking into a point where I'm doing a little bit better than just surviving month to month or trying to survive month to month. But also, to me, through this process and all the mental work that I've done, I found that competition, I don't really enjoy competition. Most people, like when they get into sports, they get into it maybe because their parents introduced them to it, and they're just, as a parent, you're trying to expose your kids to things, or maybe you want your kid to be a professional athlete and you're trying to live that, have them live through your dream, which is a whole nother thing. But anyway, you start out playing it as a game, and it's fun, and like you can enjoy it, and then at some point you get to a point where it starts to become competitive, and then it gets to be so competitive that it kind of takes the joy out of it. This happened with my wife, actually, and with her, she was a soccer player, a high-level soccer player. She got a scholarship a full ride to go to University of Detroit, Mercy, I believe it's called. It's like spacing out on the name. She got a full ride for a soccer scholarship. She turned that down and then went to University of Colorado Boulder instead. She wanted to get out of her home state of Michigan and just wanted to go somewhere else, and she felt drawn to go to there. She got onto the soccer team, and she quit after she quit because the competitive aspects of it were so much that it took the joy out of it, took the fun out of it. You hear about a lot of professional athletes having they struggle mentally with depression and things like that. Sports in the U.S. is marketed to be, the marketing of it is such that you think that once you win, there's going to be all this glory, and you can see when someone does win, when there's one winner, and then everyone else, when you play the competition game, there's only one winner. Everyone else in the win-loss thing is losing. So when you do win, it's really, really thrilling. But then there's often when you do win like that, there's a letdown, and you hear that from a lot of athletes. I was on listening to a part of a presentation by, I forget his name, Bubba Watson's caddy, and he was saying that when Bubba Watson won the Masters, he called the caddy up, and it was just the caddy was like, it was just an unrecognized number, I guess, and he's like, hello, who's this? And the guy, and Bubba said something along, I'm gonna mess this up, but something along the lines of, is this it? And the guy's like, who is this? Like, oh, and he like goes, Bubba Watson. And it's like, is this it? Like, I just won the Masters 2 days ago, and like, this is how I feel. Life is still life. And this has happened with, with other people, like, David Duval. He won the British Open, the Open Championship, and then all of a sudden he just got to #1 in the world. And I gather that he had a kind of like is this it kind of experience also. I thought like winning, and I thought this glory that I was supposed to get, and how it was all presented to me on TV and like in movies and stuff. It was supposed to be this thing, and it wasn't. Aaron Rodgers, I think, went through that when he won a Super Bowl. So there, Jim Carrey in the entertainment industry, he said like, I wish everyone could get famous and super, super wealthy to find out that that's not the thing. So it's tough when you're like, you see these things as a kid and it looks so great on TV, and then you think like, yeah, I'm going to pursue that, and you really put yourself into it, and then the competition starts to take over, and the higher up you go in the sport, the more extreme of a lifestyle you have to live to be able to get up in that level, which I think is why you see a lot of athletes that are again, depressed and stuff, and they're just not happy, and they're not. You get so competitive that the other areas of your life kind of fail. Like, for example, Michael Jordan, he's like such a competitor. He's put on such a pedestal. He's won all these championships. It's like, yeah, he did all this. But you look at the other areas of his life, a lot of these kind of people are divorced. Their social lives are not that great. They're not particularly, when you talk to people around them, and you really get to talk to the people around them, you find out that those, like the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods, they're not necessarily pleasant people to be around, because they're so self-consumed in what they're doing. They don't really think about others, and if you're not serving them, then they cast you aside. So there's like an empathy and a compassion that isn't there with ultra competitive people. So when you get up into higher level sports, like in golf even, golf is such a thing where you are, to get good at golf, you have to spend a lot of time by yourself. And to me personally, I love being by myself. I'm comfortable being alone. So I think that's part of the joy of golf for me, is just the time alone, the nature. I enjoy the practice. I enjoy the adventure and the travel. Like, there's some things I really love about golf, but a lot of pros actually don't love golf. I forget where, I don't know, I'm kind of tangenting here, but that's okay. Like, I don't know I forget where I'm going with this, but I guess coming back to like Rebrand, professional golfer and explorer, I'm rethinking this idea of professional golfer and what it means to be a professional golfer. So unlike a lot of pros who are in it for fame or money or pursuing this thing that they think is going to satisfy them internally, gosh, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought again. I want to reimagine that. I don't know that I find traditional professional golf actually that enjoyable. There was this buddy that I played with, I would play with in Switzerland when my wife and I lived there, and when we played a lot of golf together, and we were really good friends, and so he saw me play a lot. And then one time I got to go qualify, I was back in the U.S. I think I was back in the U.S., yeah. And I flew back to Switzerland to visit him, and then to also pop over to England to do qualifying for the Open Championship. And that was a cool memory, by the way. I got a chance, I didn't make the cut, but I got a chance to make an eagle in Open Championship qualifying. So like, how cool is that? Who gets to do that? So that what a cool memory and experience to do that. But anyway, I asked him to come caddy for me, and so he took a week off work, and he just was. It was like, yeah, you know, because who wouldn't want, as a golf fan, who wouldn't want that experience to like caddy in a tournament for like a major like that? And we played our practice round. It was fine. It was kind of funny. He had a staff bag also, one of those golf bags that has the ads on it. So even though he's a good player, he's a single-digit player, but we both had the branded bags, and so he was able to get away with people thinking that he was a professional golfer there also during a practice round, which is kind of funny. But anyway, it got to be tournament time, and then this was another fun experience that I wasn't expecting. My tee time was the very first tee time, opening up all of the qualifying for the Open Championship. So after the round, I opened up my phone just to like check on the scores, and I went to the Open Championship website, and I was on the homepage of the Open Championship saying, I think they went by my full name is Robert Jaacob Bowden, and I go by Jacob, but for some reason they had me in there as my first name, but they said like Robert Bowden tees off, starts off Open qualifying. So that was kind of a cool surprise also as part of that particular time that I did the qualifying. But anyway, going back to him, he had played a lot of golf with me, just kind of fun golf, joy golf, and then he got into there, and tournament golf, particularly super high level tournament golf like that, the vibe is so different. People are nervous when they're starting out, particularly at the beginning of the tournament, where there's a cut. Everyone's there, everyone's like trying to get ready, everyone's like focused. It's very intense. People are into what they're doing. They kind of got blinders on. It's not necessarily friendly, not because people aren't friendly, but or that they're out to crush the other person. It's just it's such an intense focus that the vibe surrounding it's really hard to explain unless you're there in that. And the behavior of the players is so different. And he got there as when he was caddying for him, and he was like, I don't forget if he told me like then, it's palpable when you experience it, but that maybe he told me then, or maybe he waited until after the round, but he was like, what was that? Like, no one seemed happy. No one seemed to enjoy what they were doing. It wasn't fun. Like, it was so serious, and it just, so I guess there's kind of a big difference between playing that kind of golf and playing just regular golf. And you know, again, I would say that a lot of pros don't even like playing professional golf. Again, I guess you're chasing this thing that you see marketed to you when you're a kid or on TV or whatever, and you think that there's going to be this satisfaction, or maybe you think that, or you just want to test yourself or whatever. And then, so I don't know, and then you're having to act so extremely to get up to that level with, you have a really out of balance life, you're traveling a lot. If you have a family, you're away from your family. Again, it's not necessarily fun. It might make you feel alive, the competition and the pressure, but I wouldn't describe it as a fun atmosphere. So me personally, I almost enjoy playing golf with friends and with a beginner, because I actually like playing golf. I got into golf because of, like, I enjoy it. Again, like, you know, I enjoy the nature, I enjoy the practice. I enjoy using like, everyone has their own gifts. And you know, you can find out some of what your gifts are. If you don't know, just ask the people around you that you know, and like, hey, what am I good at? What do you think I'm naturally good at? And when I did that for me, like, two of the things that constantly came back were like, I'm strong, like both physically and mentally. I think it takes a lot of inner strength to try and, you know, drop a corporate job when you're not a good golfer and try and become a professional golfer, and then to stick with it. And just being an entrepreneur requires a lot of inner strength, I think. But then the other thing was athletic. Like, I'm just a super athletic person, and sadly, I don't know, it was meant to be, I guess, but sadly for me, I skipped a grade. I went from the end of kindergarten to the end of first grade, and so when you're a kid, that can be 30 pounds and 3 inches. Like, there can be a huge size difference, and they've done studies of this. There was a study in the 80s, I think, about Canadian hockey, and depending on, even in the same grade, depending on the time of year that you were born, there was a correlation between the older kids in the grade getting, there was a higher likelihood of them making the NHL than those that were in the same grade and on the younger side of the cutoff. So I was kind of dealing with being, by far, I was in the middle if I would have been in my grade, but I was like, skipped a grade, so I was a year younger. And so I was, in my grade, I was kind of like, say on the basketball team, I was 6-man. But if you would have put me in my grade of my age, because of my strength and athleticism, I was like, that was one of my gifts that I was just kind of naturally good at. And still, even despite the skipping the grade, I ended up going on to play Division II college basketball. I got cut from the sophomore year of the junior varsity in my baseball team in high school. Ironically, the teacher said I wasn't strong enough, which is kind of funny because that's one of my strengths. But anyway, I went on to go and have a Minnesota Twins tryout when I was 24. And then now I'm a professional golfer. So athleticism is just something that's kind of like one of my gifts. So me being in golf is me engaging in one of the gifts that I have, using my strength, using my athleticism, and then me personally, and I'll get into this into like a lot of these upcoming videos, but from, I talk about going into all these different rabbit holes and like just internal rabbit holes. How can I use this to get better, find a way to get through the system? And in this particular manner, or particular thing I'm talking about, astrology. So if you look at my astrologic birth chart, I have a lot of air signs, which is like dreamy, pie in the sky, communication, and I have a balanced amount of fire, like passion, and then my water elements in my chart is pretty low, so I'm a little bit underbalanced in that. So which is why I kind of have, I think, like a little bit of an emotionally flat defect, and then also like I'm super low in nature, in earth elements. So I'm not a super grounded person. I'm like always like, air. I'm dreamy, I guess. So for me, to balance my energy, to get me out of my head, to get me out of analysis paralysis, the dark side of like being, it's a gift being high in one element, and it's also a challenge because it's out of balance in that sense. So the challenge is I overanalyze, and sometimes I paralyze myself, and I'm just in my head. And you can even see it when I'm walking. Sometimes I'm walking very head forward, and so I got to get my energy out of my head and ground myself. So when I'm playing golf, if I put my hand, I talked about that educational kinesiology thing. If I put my hand on my stomach, it helps bring the energy out of my head. If I think about roots growing out of my feet, that helps get me out of my head. But astrologically, like just being in nature here, that helps balance me. So that's part of the reason I play golf also. Going back to that, is that being in nature, if golf didn't exist, being in nature would help balance me. So I could be like, I don't know, a park ranger or just something involving nature, being outdoors. So golf has that effect on me. It kind of calms me, gets me out of my, it has a balancing effect on me. So there's, I really love and enjoy golf. I actually do like it as a professional golfer. So that's part of what this is. This rebranding. I still want to engage in that because that's my passion, or something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that just fits my makeup, and I feel like it's who I'm meant to be and who I'm here to be. I'm good at coaching. I'm good at training other people. It revolves around the area that I should be in, like using my strength and athleticism. And I come from a family of teachers and coaches. But like when I think about it, I don't really like the scheduling. I don't really like the back and forth or the negotiation. If there's like a rate or something, I don't really enjoy that. Even when I have, say, a lesson and say it's like 10, I'm on the way to it. It more feels obligatory than like, yeah, I get to go do this. Once I get there, I fall into it, and then I do fine, and I do enjoy it, and it does become good. I feel like all my lessons and training sessions work out great, and I think that's it's really close to where I should be. But the tweak of that, the refinement of that, the rebrand here is, I think I'm better. I'm more happy. I'm more enjoyable. You know, again, I'm about to start my 50s, so like I want to just spend life trying as best as I can to do as many things as I enjoy and that I like and that I want to do, and as little things as I don't want to do, even if I might be good at them. So that's a little bit about this professional golfer. So I'm gonna what does this mean going forward here? So there's going to be a few things. I'm reactivating YouTube here, or my presence on YouTube. Started in 2008, I think, on Swingman Golf. I forget if I mentioned that. Like I had pretty quick success on that. I had 1 million views on one of my videos, and then I don't think I launched my personal channel here till 11 or 12 or 13. I never really went hard on it, but I think I'm gonna like invest in this. That's what I'm doing now, is like investing here on YouTube. And it's partly YouTube. Part of my air sign here is communication. So I feel like I'm going to do what I enjoy, and that's playing golf. But then I need to, like, when I look back at my career, I do well when I'm engaging in my own interest, which is golf, and exploring ways to get better and how to get better, and even going into weird ways of doing it that people don't think about. And then I'm going to turn on the camera here and just share. So there's a boat going by with a big a bunch of music on it. Detroit River's fun here. So I'm going to be doing some YouTube. So please, if you want to support this, or if you think you want to be a part of this, subscribe. The way YouTube, there's a ton of videos on YouTube. So the way YouTube puts things out there is if you comment on the video, like the video, share the video, it tells YouTube that this is something that we should promote. So if you want to support the channel, please do that. I'm probably going to run ads on the video, so click on an ad that it doesn't get much. I don't even know, a few cents or something, but you get a lot of views and that adds up. So that's a way you can help support this channel here. I'm not really going to focus on other social media like Facebook or Instagram. It's a little bit more short form. I don't particularly like what Mark Zuckerberg is doing either. Similar with X and Elon Musk. A lot of people are on X in golf, but I don't really care for Elon Musk. I don't really care for the platform. LinkedIn doesn't really make sense for this. So I'm not really going to focus on these other social media channels other than, say, YouTube, because I'm okay with YouTube and what it is and what it's doing, and like I can share like longer form videos like this. So definitely subscribe, engage with the videos. Somewhere, as it's a process of doing this, but like I'll update my website, personal website. That hasn't been done yet, but I'll be working on that. I'll be sharing things through my email list. So if you see somewhere around a link or somewhere like, hey, join the email list, please do that. That's a way you can support. Also, my Swingman Golf website. please subscribe to that. It varies in price. I think right now it's like $62 a month subscription, but that's a great way of supporting that. Swingman Golf has gone through a number of iterations over the years. It started in 2007, and the first iteration was 2007 to 2013 or so, and it originally was sharing things about swing speed training, my experience with Mike Austin, and how I was able to transform from just an average golfer to a professional golfer. And then the second iteration was maybe 2014 to 2019, and in that iteration it went from a one-time thing to like a monthly kind of thing. And I ran this monthly handicap improver, which we sent out like a 12 or 16 page paper thing in the snail mail. So I was putting that together every month. And then I ran a podcast, I think an internal members podcast. There was about 60 episodes. So I was doing that. And then in 2020 to 2025, I put everything more into a holding pattern and just glopped it all together and called it all access. That's what you currently see at the moment that I'm filming this. So please subscribe to that if you want to, if you want to support me and what I'm doing here, please do that. I do plan, as part of this rebrand, it's time now. Technology has evolved, my knowledge has evolved. It's time now to do the next iteration. It's 2025 now. So I do want to do that. I've got the plan is to have it be all video based. I ran some surveys over the years to ask all of you on my followers at the time. I think probably have about 25,000 on the email list right now. I ran a survey, asked people what's the number one thing you want to improve in your golf game? And then I glopped all those together. I tried to categorize them and just figure out what are the patterns, how can I help you the most? And so I've got a structure, probably about 80% of the structure, the topics of the videos that I want to film for that. So I'm almost there with all the topics, and then once I get the topics, the rest of this year, I'll finish getting the topics. I'll shoot some videos, and then we'll get that uploaded and get the site uploaded. So I'm hoping to get that done by fall 2025. But if you want to, please support Swingman Golf. That's a great way you can support me and what I'm doing and what's coming. Which hopefully you can benefit from too. Also, as a professional golfer, I'm kind of like a NASCAR car. I can take logos on hats and on my shirts and and my golf bag and whatnot. So if you are watching this and you're a company or a brand or something and connect with me and want to feel like it's a values fit to do that, please reach out. That would be a sponsorship. Or also, I don't know, if you're independently wealthy and you have a lot of throw around money and it's just I want to give back and help someone who's in their passion space and as a way of giving back or helping someone engage in their passion, whatever your reason is, please reach out. I'm open to taking support. I'm asking for support. And then so that's coming with Swingman Golf. And then also, this is a fun one. My wife and I are going to start a podcast together, a golf podcast. Oh, there's little, hey buddy. How about that? He's only about, I don't know if the camera conveyed that, but he was only about 3 or 4 feet from me. What a fun little surprise. I love it. So anyway, my wife and I are going to start a podcast. We're about to start filming the first episode here. And I think it's going to be cool because the golf stuff I'm going to share with you on YouTube and these little, we're going, what are we at, 47 minutes? This video is getting a little bit long here, but the idea is to invite you into my practice for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm just going to turn the camera on. It's going to be super casual like this. I'm not going to invest a lot of time in editing. Again, my passion, like I can edit some, and a lot of my stuff is edited, but I've done the editing because there wasn't the budget to hire an editor. But I want to just have it be it's going to be more raw. I've got a camera here, I've got a tripod, I've got a little microphone to get decent sound. I got a little stop and start button here on the video, so I'm just trying to do things that I can make it be a decent video without having to edit a whole lot. I'm not going to do a transcript. A lot of times with some of my videos, like the Mike Austin video that's on the channel here, I wrote a huge long transcript for that, and then I put at that point, in the old days on my original Swingman Golf YouTube channel, I just wrote on paper or typed on paper the script that I was reading right below the camera lens here. And then for the Mike Austin video that I did, I borrowed an iPad, and then I had a camcorder, and then I got a coat hanger and just used the coat hanger to put the iPad there, and then just kind of like scrolled up and down through to have a teleprompter to read my script, and then I just have to go back and forth to the camera, and then I had a lot of editing. It took me about a month to make that video, to film and do all the editing. So I don't really want to, again, this is about priorities. I don't want to spend all my time doing editing until maybe someone watching wants to volunteer to do that, or revenues get high enough that I can, or sponsorship, like that's, if I can get, say, build a sponsorship team, say, 120,000 would be great, because then just a basic 60,000 to live off of, and then 60,000 to cover travel, training, all those kinds of things. But then anything above and beyond that, say if I could get up to like 240,000, which I don't know, maybe sounds like a lot, but when you talk about these tour contracts, there's money out there to do that. There's, LeBron James, they're paying him $48 million a year. Kick a couple 100,000 to a guy like me, and I'll reinvest that. I'm not driven by the power or greed or the excess. Like, I'll actually reinvest that and put that back into, say hiring a video editor or something to improve the production quality here. So that's coming. I'm just going to be talking to the camera here like this. No scripts. It takes a long time to write scripts. I'm good at writing scripts. I can really think through my words. The videos, I think, are in some ways a little bit better because I can be on the more on point, and I don't have as many tangents. This is how I just normally talk. Sometimes I talk with pauses because words are important to me, and I really like to think through and try and use true wording. Like if someone says, this is the best way to do it, is it really the best way? Did you check all the ways? How did you prove that? So like, I'm very much of a critical thinker. So a lot of times with the words, why I talk slowly is I'm thinking through words to try and use correct wording. So my articles end up being good because I can think through words. If I write a transcript, that ends up being good because I can also think through my words, and then I can run the teleprompter at a speed that is a quick clip. But when I talk like this, it might be a little bit slower clip, and I was a little concerned with that. But someone once told me, like, about with public speaking, when you're public speaking, a lot of people get super afraid of that. They're more afraid of that than dying and, getting up in front of an audience and talking. And then especially when you like freeze and forget what you're saying, or you're like trying to find your next thought, it can be super uncomfortable and all the eyes are on you and you like don't know what you're going to say or don't know where it's going to go next. But this person said that gives people time to think about what you're saying and to process what you're saying. So I was like, oh yeah, right. That's true. That's actually, that's a good point. So I'm going to let it be okay that maybe there'll be pauses. So these videos will go, so I'm going to try and do a weekly video, 20 to 30 minutes. I'll bring you out to my practice, just kind of share what I'm working on, what I'm thinking about each shot. The intention isn't to teach. The intention is me just exploring and working on my game and being a professional golfer. But what might come out of that is teaching as an indirect thing. So maybe you can learn something from it. Maybe you can get something out of it for your own game. And the vibe of this is going to be so much of the garbage bin, the growing garbage bin of the internet is so like people like, oh, excited, move around, flashy things all over the screen. My vibe is calm, chill. So, that's not what say a marketer would say to do, but that's my vibe, that's my core, that's my strength, and maybe that's going to be a way for this to stand out. It's if you want calm, if you want chill, if you want like real conversation, real thinking, no real authenticity. Authenticity is like hard to come by, I think, because everything is so scripted and manufactured. One of the I don't know if I should say his name, but there's a guy that hosts a show on the Golf Channel, and I was talking with him, and like he was, some of his things that you see on the Golf Channel, the shots, the demonstration shots that they take, it might be the fifth take. So when you see that on the telecast, it's the first shot, and you're like, oh wow, he hit it perfect, he hit it straight. He was doing what he demonstrated. But what you don't know is that took 5 takes to do that. So there's like an aspect of it not being real, it's not being authentic. And even with shot tracers, I would love to be able to put a shot tracer onto my things, onto my videos, because it really adds, I think, to the production quality. But there are these apps that you can use to put a tracer onto your shot. But I tried that once, and you can literally put the tracer anywhere. So you have no idea if these tracers that you see are real. And even a good editor can add like a tracer, but you don't know if that was real. The ones that you see on the telecast, those are actually, there's a box, like a device right behind the camera or whatever, or nearby, that gets integrated with the broadcast. So that actually is a real tracer. So I don't want to add anything. I want to try and be authentic. I want it to be real. I want you to trust me. Integrity is a big part of this for me. So I've asked TrackMan, Frederick Tuxon at TrackMan, if he could like make something like this. I don't know if he'll do that. I previously asked, being involved in swing speed training, if TrackMan could like track air swings for swing speed training, and that got added. That's in the software now. I don't know if that was because I did ask him for that. I don't know if other people asked him for that, but now that's in the software. So I'm hoping a tool like that becomes available. I've tried reaching out to Top Tracer or whoever the people are that do the actual tracers to get real tracers. And I could never get through. I could never get a response to like get access to that. So, and I don't even know if I had the budget for that. I don't know how that would work. I would like that. If you're watching this and you want to have that be a part of it, I would please reach out. I would love to have that. But that's why this one video that I did, if you're on my channel, look up the 2021 PGA Championship qualifier. I put a GoPro camera on my push cart, so that and then I just pushed the cart and tried to focus on playing. It's hard to play and film at the same time, and then to capture all the data that would be nice to add afterwards in editing. But as best as I could, I tried to push my push cart and aim it where I was going to hit. I tried to think about if there's a nice background or something, like maybe I could like put the camera there to like get the nice background and get me in it. But the thing about that was it was a continuous recording. I let the GoPro go constantly, and then I didn't ever cut the camera away. So even though I couldn't add tracer to it, you could see me walk into frame. I would hit my shot, I'd walk back out of frame, then the cart would go, and I would speed it up 8 times just so it wouldn't take forever to. But then that actually kind of cool. One thing is cool about that 8, the number of infinity. I like that abundance from a spirituality standpoint, a numerology standpoint. But then also, so that was cool. But that was one reason why I did the 8x speed. But then also it kind of made a cool noise, like a little whir and little crinkling of the the sound effects were really cool. I didn't even need to add anything into the video. It was so great that way. And I also found out that I was so into the tournament and focusing on that and just trying to record it that I didn't even notice all the birds in the background. But then I got I was going in to edit it, and there was all these amazing birds in the background. And it just ended up turning into be like a really kind of cool, fascinating video. And because I was 8Xing where I was walking, you could see the whole course. You could, and I was walking to where my ball actually was. So it was a way for me to show you something real and authentic. And it ended up being really unique and such a cool production. It was a lot of work to edit that. I did that myself. It took me a week to edit that one video. So I'd really like to do that again because it's such a cool way I think of showing golf. Maybe we'll do that, but I need an editor. I need someone to either donate their time for that, or to have some income coming in through the different ways that I talk about that you can support me, support the channel, whether that's just here on YouTube or signing up for Swingman Golf, or sponsorship, actual sponsorship where there are bigger dollars coming in. Then I could like hire an actual editor. And you don't realize that a lot of these people that you think are just a single person like this, the teams that are behind them, like Rick Shields or Bryson DeChambeau, they got like multiple camera people. They're traveling with them. There's editors. There's people making the graphics. There's so much that goes into those videos that you may not realize. So anyway, so that's kind of going to be the style and vibe of it. I'm going to try and do a weekly YouTube video, 20, 30 minutes, invite you into the practice. I'll just turn on a microphone like this. Sometimes we'll go inside, we'll be on a TrackMan launch monitor. We'll talk through some things that I'm working on, how I'm thinking about things. So I think it'll be a really neat insight. But then this podcast also, in that, since I'll be talking in these other two YouTube videos about more the golf things, this other thing with the podcast with my wife and I, she initially suggested doing it, and I resisted a little bit, but now I just kind of came to like, all right, yeah, let's do this. This is a good idea. This fits within this rebrand. This makes sense. This is something I can do. It could be fun. It could be helpful and useful for people. And I don't think there's a golf podcast that's a husband-wife podcast. So we're not going to talk golf stuff. My wife is a beginner golfer, even after all these years. She likes golf, but golf takes a lot of time, and she's busy with her things and her career, so she's still a beginner. So I don't want to bore her with talking about all the ins and outs of like the golf stuff. But she's been behind the scenes all these years. Again, I started this January 1st, 2003. She and I met November 2004. So she's been behind the scenes and seen all this, seen all of what I've gone through and what I've been through and all the things that I've dug into. And mostly I've shared golf things, and it's all been, presented in a certain way. So this is going to be a chance to, one, just kind of see our dynamic. It's going to also give us a chance to talk about more than golf, because golf for me is like, I pursued a career as a professional golfer. I've been a professional golfer, and then in doing that, I've learned a lot about myself. There's been a lot of self-exploration. I've learned a lot about society. I've learned a lot about life, and it's helped me develop a philosophy or in all those things. And so we'll get into those kinds of things. It's going to be called, at least tentatively, it's going to be called The Long and Short of It. Multiple reasons, I guess. Part of it's the long and short. Like, I'm 6'2", she's 5'3", 5'4", so there's a big and tall kind of thing to it. But also her personality, we always joke that she's 7 feet tall because her personality is like a 7 feet tall, and I'm like more calm and quiet and reserved and just kind of chill. Like, I don't even like golf clothes, to be honest. I'd rather just be in a t-shirt and shorts like this. I'm super casual. I'm California casual. I got long hair. Yeah, that's just my vibe. I don't even like golf clothes, to be honest. I don't think the fashion is good, and I think like the dress codes are limiting to golf. It's like, you can wear what you want. If you want to wear that, that's great. Don't tell me what to wear. By having a dress code, you are telling me what to wear. So there's a little bit of rebelliousness in that sense. But then there's also like it stifles, I think, creativity. All the professional golfers kind of look all the same. If you could open it up and let people wear what they want, I think like you could see some really, like one of my buddies is Rob Hogan. He's the guy on Instagram that I forget his handle, but he's like the world champion speed golfer. He's kind of like considered the GOAT of like speed golf thus far. And he does these videos where he's like just out in nature, and he's like got his long beard and long hair, and he's just yelling, and he's all crazy, and he doesn't do that in real life. So it's funny to me to see that. But that's his persona that he's developed. So I'm not that. I'm just going to be me. I'm calm, I'm chill. But the dynamic between my wife and I think is, I hope that you'll enjoy it and you'll appreciate it. She's she'll be good, I think, at prompting discussion and prompting things to talk about. And we can get into things a little bit more. So it'll be the long and short of it. So we'll dig into something really deeply, maybe, and have deeper conversations, and then kind of sum it up at the end. It's like, all right, what's the takeaway out of this? So I hope it'll be useful and helpful in that sense. It's going to be similar. We're going to kind of try and do it like low editing. Just hit one of these things, turn the camera on, go, turn it off, try and face a light. Like I'm facing the sun right now. I'm having to squint a little bit, but if you try and face a light source, so you don't need to like set up lights. And just have a big production about it. So it'll be kind of like that. Anyway, so that's coming too. So this is getting long. This is longer than I expected. We're at 1 hour and 5. So let me go ahead and just wrap it up here. So that's a little bit about this rebrand that I'm going through. Professional Golfer Explorer, what it is, a little bit of backstory, what is behind that, what that means, what's coming. In all the different ways. So please, if you can, support it. Support the channel on YouTube here. Subscribe, like, comment, click an ad. If you want to do a little bit more, go to Swingman Golf, subscribe to Swingman Golf. Currently, I think it's $62 a month. I don't know if we'll change that, but that's what it is currently. If you want to get involved through sponsorship, either through just private sponsorship, you want to throw some money at this, like at a grant, like, hey, this is cool, like I want to help this be better and help promote this. Or if you just are also a corporate type person and you feel like this is a natural fit, then please reach out. So that's all. Thanks for listening to this. This has been much longer than I expected. I was hoping to talk for 20 or 30 minutes, and here it is like 1 hour and 6 minutes. Whew. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, upload the video. The next video that's coming, I think what I'm going to do is film what is my swing vision. So I've got this idea for, and this is part of the exploring part of it. I've got this idea, kind of like an artist or a creative in my head, of like exactly how I want my swing to look, how I want the swing to perform, how I want the vibe of my swing to be. There's this inner question of me, like, how good can I be at golf? And it's more than just how good, what's the lowest score can I shoot? It's not about winning or competing. I think like competition is going backwards for me. So I want to exist up in the space of like, this is my joy, this is my passion, this is the context that I want to be in. So I'm not going to necessarily, maybe I'll win something, maybe I'll be in a tournament, and there will be a competition, but like my focus is not going to be on that part of it. And maybe that's the key to unlocking something for me in that area, but I don't know. But that's not gonna, I'm not gonna try and focus on that aspect of it. So it's, people think of like GOAT, greatest of all time, as like who's won, got the most wins, and above that, who's got the most majors. So like, in golf, is Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods the greatest of all time? Like, I don't think of greatest of all time like that. For me, in tennis, for example, my greatest of all time is Roger Federer. Novak has more Grand Slams. Nadal has more Grand Slams, but I like the way that Roger, the grace and the calm. And when we lived in Switzerland, Roger would always be in the papers, and there'd always be this like tight shot of him like hitting a big shot. And in the moment, like his face, there was just such a calm. There wasn't like a over it. I really appreciated like kind of the calm zenness of it. So for me in tennis, like I think about GOAT differently. I think so. For me, it's not most wins, most Grand Slams. Roger Federer is my tennis GOAT. In golf, my GOAT is it should be me. I guess it is me. I'm the GOAT. I'm my GOAT. But if I don't count myself, why wouldn't you vote for yourself? I would probably pick Fred Couples. So he hasn't won the most majors. He doesn't have the most wins. But I like the beauty and the aesthetic and the way that he goes about it, the calm, the casualness. That really kind of, I don't know, I love that, I appreciate that. So with me, I have my own vision as like a professional golfer artist of how I want the swing to look, how I want to perform, how I want to carry myself with like a grace, a calmness, a grace, being in my power, being in my strength. So this next video is going to get into that and what that means, and we're going to pop into, there's a 5-iron golf here that has a TrackMan, a bunch of TrackMan bays. There's a way I can like do a screencast, so like I can put the video on myself, and and I'll be able to see myself in the video because there's monitors all around, but you'll be able to see. So I'll be able to really kind of show you what my swing vision is, and I can talk about that because that is going to set up a lot of the things that I'm working on for myself. You know, and again, this isn't about, I'm not chasing any more wins. I don't even know if I'm chasing being on the PGA Tour. Maybe I'll play in a PGA Tour event, but like the PGA Tour has, to me, especially since all this live golf came about, and I don't know, maybe we can talk about this. Please comment in the videos, because I like to read the comments, and maybe I like to read them at the least. I try and respond to them, but the PGA Tour to me, since all this live golf stuff has come around, a lot of people are putting PGA Tour in a higher, I don't know, moral ground than live golf, but to me, like I feel like I see the PGA Tour in a different way, and like I can't unsee that. So you know, like I was saying, in golf is a game of integrity, but I don't think the golf industry has a lot of integrity, and quite honestly, I don't think a lot of the PGA Tour has a lot. There's a lot of ethical dilemmas and things that aren't good about the PGA Tour. So I don't even know if I desire to be a PGA Tour player anymore. Maybe I'll play in a tour event. I don't know. I'm turning 50. That's gonna in January. That's gonna open up some opportunities. I still feel capable enough to like still go play regular tour events. I still hit it far enough. I still know how to train to hit it far enough. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But anyway, this next video is going to be about my swing vision. It's going to set up. It's going to tee up the next videos that are to come. And it's just kind of, there's a little bit of a plan, but also I'm just kind of going to wing it like I'm winging this video, and just go from there. So anyway, that's what's coming up next. Look forward to seeing you. Again, like, subscribe, do all those things, and we'll see you in the next video.